Yeah, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, for some reason today I find that in my display out here, it seems to show that there is some kind of a noise. I don't hear any noise in my studio, but if you guys hear any noise, please let me know. I'll have to work on that. I haven't changed anything, but these kind of things do happen from time to time. Maybe something in the software. But let's get started for today. So overall, the US stock futures are flat to marginally high, with Dow up around close to 0.18%, S&P 500 rising a little. NASDAQ also is just a little up as investors brace to see what happens with the CPI or inflation report, which is due at 8:30 a.m. I'm going to explain what I think will happen if it comes hot or if it comes cold subsequently in today's live stream. So please wait for that. And I would like to hear your feedback. And in terms of global markets, I think Asia Pacific shares mostly rose, with Japan's Nikkei 225 hitting another record high on fresh optimism following the US-China trade truce extension. And European markets opened positive, but remained sensitive to US data. And Treasuries kind of nudged up to 4.26 after a muted auction earlier this week. And the dollar is slightly weaker against the global majors. These things keep on fluctuating a little bit here and there. Nothing definitive out there, but volatility is elevated as traders await key inflation signals that will set the tone for Fed's rate policy. Everybody's looking for a rate cut in September. That's the key out here. The US July CPI will be released this morning at around 8:30 a.m., which means in another 45 minutes, we should have 45 to 50 minutes, we should have that. And the consensus is expecting a rise of 2.8% year over year and core CPI at 3%. Elevated import tariffs are expected to show up in the report, including the Federal Reserve's next moves as traders. It will be influencing the Federal Reserve's next moves as traders anticipate a possible rate cut in September. So that's the dynamic I think we are looking at. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to show you the economic calendar and just walk you through what I think might probably be happening. So bonds and yields will end up, if the readings come above expectations. You already see the expectations here, consensus and forecast, right? So if the readings come above, then the bonds and yields will push upward as investors expect the Fed to maintain or even hike rates rather than cut. Bond prices would likely fall and yields would move up. And when you look at the stock markets, especially rate-sensitive sectors like tech and growth, could come under pressure as high inflation erodes profit potential and reduces the odds of near-term Fed easing. And defensive commodity-linked sectors like energy and materials could potentially fare higher. So that's the reading out there. But remember, the positioning is already in place for a new Fed governor. So we have a shadow Fed already in the works. And also the dollar may strengthen if markets believe the Fed will remain hawkish or dial back rate cut beats. So this is all if the readings come above expectation. Now, higher inflation can increase volatility and dampen risk appetite, especially if it's accompanied with weak growth or persistent tariff impact. Now, let us look at the other situation where the reading comes below expectations. In that case, lower than expected inflation would reinforce expectation for a Fed rate cut, and Treasury yields would fall, and bond prices would rise as investors anticipate easier policy going forward. And equities would likely rally, particularly growth and tech stocks, on the hopes of lower interest rates and cheaper borrowing costs. And consumer and housing sector may also benefit. And the dollar would likely weaken as lower yields reduce its relative attractiveness, and lower inflation tends to increase optimism, risk on sentiment, and bullishness across markets. Though it is accompanied by weak growth, recession concerns may reappear. And tomorrow we'll bring the PPI or Producer Price Index, and Friday, July retail sales and sentiment surveys will be published. So that's the other thing that we have to look forward to. This morning, everything is a bit slow right now, mainly because we have the economic data coming in. There is a core inflation rate and inflation rate, as well as both month over month as well as year over year, as you can see on the website out here. Now, apart from this, let's go back into our charts and then continue with the setup for the day. So President Trump extended a 90-day tariff truce with China until November, dialing back near-term trade tensions, which stabilized the market overnight. Intel gained on confirmation that it will maintain U.S. investments. And after CEO Lip Bhutan met with White House, NVDA and AMD shares slipped after agreeing to pay 15% of relevant China chip export revenues to U.S. government as part of export license rules. So those are the things that are happening. So basically, Intel made a pilgrimage to the White House, and that has kind of cooled off things for Intel for the time being. And it's a busy morning for earnings, including Singapore's Sea Limited, Cardinal Health, and Tencent Music. More than 150 companies report today, but inflation data is seen as the main course for today. Everybody's looking at the inflation data. And in India, Sensex, which is their major index, dropped 368 points, and Nifty lost 0.4% amid volatility and profit booking ahead of domestic and US inflation numbers. Financial and real estate names lagged, while auto and select IT sectors outperform. So that was the reaction in India. Now, whatever happens with the CPI readings today is going to influence everything globally. So it's very critical. And if you look at yesterday's trade action also, after the 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock time frame yesterday, the stocks started coming down. That was in anticipation of the CPI today. And pre-market, we are seeing that our futures are also very mild. They're not much change. They're just down by 0.05 and 0.03% respectively for S&P 500 and NASDAQ. So everything is poised for the economic data. So while we wait for the economic data, let me say that S&P 500 at this point of time, let me go and make this a one-day chart and open this up, recalibrate. So we are ready, and we have a hard stop here at 6440 for S&P 500. Sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, tending towards the signal line, and momentum is above average. Plenty of room on the RSI, but it's a little weak in the morning, tending downwards. So it's neither here nor there. NASDAQ also is not resoundingly looking like it's going to be bullish at this point of time. We are below our minor line of resistance at 23,612.17. And sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, tending towards the signal line. And also momentum had dropped yesterday. Pre-market also it is a little drop. So we'll have to see what happens when the market opens. The all-important inflation index is what everyone is waiting for. WIX is up mildly, 1.48%. Gold is up a little, 0.16%. And put-call ratio is neutral to mildly bullish. That's where we stand. And let's go on to look at AI. NVIDIA is down 0.08%, readily waiting to move towards our target of 195.91, but it's being held down by this line of resistance out here for the last week. It's at 183.51. Is NVIDIA going to be able to break through and go above, or is it going to come down and test the support at around 177.50? It all depends on the inflation read that we are looking for. We have got a bearish divergence for NVIDIA, which is still intact. The bearish divergence is still intact, and we need to see if it's going to be resolved with the interest rate declaration. The resolution will be a drop in order for the price chart also to align with the RSI and the MACD. Now we have Meta, same situation with Meta, but with a very strong chart out here for Meta because sentiment is bullish, momentum is also pretty good and above average, and MACD is also bullish. And what we have is a bullish pennant. Bullish pennants have a high probability of breaking out on the upside. And if it breaks out on the upside, there's going to be a significant move upwards for Meta. Again, all of this depends on the inflation read. Google is down 0.22% in pre-market trades. There are a few rulings against Google. One is in the Australian court for Epic Games regarding their stores. But at this point of time, inflation is what is going to drive. CPI reading is what's going to drive. And we have a resistance at 202.80, and we have a target for 221.31. Are we going to be able to break through this line of resistance at 202.51, or will it end up being resistance for today and the support being this bull flag? So we are already broken out of the bull flag, and our further progress now depends on what happens with the CPI reading. Amazon is down 0.10%. We have a resistance out here at 226.14 for today. And we have a support at around 219.50. The further moves, again, depends on inflation reading. Apple is down 0.60%. After the White House meeting, there was a huge jump. And then we are now starting to consolidate. The RSI has cooled off a little bit. MACD is still bullish. Momentum is also pretty strong, and bullish sentiment still prevails. But all these weakness that we are seeing in the pre-market trading could be a little bit of consolidation, the formation of a bull flag. And also this is aided by the fact that we are waiting for the inflation report, which could have profound impact if it comes out very hot. So that's the reason why all these kind of positionings are taking place, in my opinion. Microsoft continues to form a bearish channel out here, and it's kind of consolidating today. It's been consolidating at this level for the last 2 days, and I think we are waiting for, again, CPI, and that should clear up everything out here. Overall sentiment is bearish, and it has got to be a little bit because valuations are quite elevated. There was a gap up and a significant jump since then. Let me show you how much we have gone up from the gap up positioning. So we had gone up all the way to 40%. We have now cooled down to somewhere around 31.67%. Still, that's a huge gain. And that's going to be a little bit of consolidation and correction. At least the gap up that we had out here is likely to be filled, and our support at 514.36 is likely to be tested. So that's what I'm seeing out here. And let us see what we have next. And I'm looking at Tesla. Now, I made a video about Tesla showing why I think Tesla has got to drop. I got a very interesting comment this morning, which said that just looking at the title, I know what kind of a video it is. And, they didn't even bother to check the video. But the second part of the Tesla story is that the chart setting seems very bullish. We have a bullish pennant out here. Now, if we break out on the bullish pennant, as was suggested by this candle where we pierced upwards and then we came back in, this could be some kind of a bull trap that is happening. That is one possibility, or it could be a genuine breakout, because pre-market we are up 0.71%. And even the CPI doesn't seem to have phased the pre-market action. So there's a very strong sentiment for Tesla. So this could potentially let Tesla go up significantly. Now, if I take this as the bull flag for the bullish pennant, so we're going to see that much more on the top side. So that's going to be a significant move upwards. Now, why is that happening is not clear to me. That's why I made that video yesterday. And I wanted the audience to let me know what I have exactly missed. What is it that makes a whole lot of people so bullish about Tesla that the stock price could go that much higher? And why am I seeing only the bearish aspect of it? So that's what I had mentioned. So anyway, that comment kind of made me feel that there is a whole lot of strong sentiment of for Tesla, so strong that they don't want to look at the bearish case at all. They don't want to see anything negative about Tesla. So Anyway, I don't have any answers there. So any of our subscribers, if you're a strong Tesla bull, please educate me on this, because I have a Tesla short. I would like to wind down the Tesla short if I get convinced that the short is not going to work. Now we have Oracle, which is down 0.30%. We have AMD, which is up 0.45% as opposed to what happened with NVDA. NVIDIA was down pre-market, but AMD is up pre-market. It has a support at 172.53. Right now we are at 173.05. If we bounce off this support, then our resistance is going to be 181.56. But if we fall below this support, then I think our support is going to be 166.67. This is where I think we'll find the minor level of support, which happens to be this line. But just mark this orange, which is our convention. So that's going to be at 166.84 today. SMCI. Someone had asked me in the comment section whether they should keep or sell the SMCI stock. I'm thinking that it's all dependent on your portfolio, how much money, what percentage of your portfolio you put into SMCI. Are you a short-term investor or a long-term investor? I learned a very hard lesson very earlier in my investment journey. I used to depend on experts who used to say that this is a good stock to buy and it's going to go up so much and so on and so forth, and I'll put a bunch of money into it, only to find out that I've lost the money. And then when I look at the same expert talking again, they are now saying that the share is bad. And I got this bitter feeling that these experts, they are just fooling us. They are just manipulating the markets and so on and so forth. What I did not understand was that whether to buy or sell a stock, whether to hold or sell a stock, all of those decisions depends on your goal as an investor. Are you a long-term investor? Are you a short-term investor? Are you in it for day trading, swing trading, or long-term investment? All of these make a difference. So as a content creator here, as a retail investor who is trying to form a retail investment community, my very strong advice to you is that if you're in the investment game, you cannot take shortcuts. You have to learn a little bit of technical analysis. You have to learn a little bit of fundamentals. You have to follow the market, and you have to form your own opinion, and you have to do risk analysis for your own self and decide how much you're going to put in which sector, how much money for day trading, how much for swing trading, how much for long-term investment. You have to do all of those things, and I cannot advise you whether you should buy or sell SMCI. What I'm doing here in this channel is telling you what I think as a retail investor, and I'm asking our retail investor community to give that critique so that I can consider that and decide for myself whether I'm on the right track or on the wrong track, and kind of make changes to my own portfolio. That's the objective of the channel. Right? So that's what I would say. I'm seeing SMCI continuing its journey downwards because we had this gap down, and the bad flag is showing us that it can go all the way up to 33.42. So that's what I'm looking for. And let us see what the market does today. Sentiment is bearish, MACD is bearish, and also momentum is below average, so not much to write home about for SMCI. Broadcom is up 0.17%. It had this bear flag which failed because we went above the flagpole. So now we are forming a bull flag out here for Broadcom, and the bull flag indicates that we have to break out on the upside. So let us see what happens when the market opens. But right now, I would say it is bullish. Sentiment is bullish. MACD has turned bullish, momentum is above average, plenty of room on the RSI, and we have earnings coming up on the 4th of September. So that's the story for Broadcom. Palantir is down 0.06%. I don't think Palantir is going anywhere. Maybe it can come down a little bit after we have the CPI readings coming up. Something is driving Palantir. I think a lot of optimism that they have big business with the government, which could only increase, and they've got a lot of corporate business in place. Forward Ps are absolutely crazy. It's very highly valued. I'm not touching Palantir at this point of time. I'm very scared about the excessive valuation that it has got. But from a chart, from the technical point of view, it looks pretty strong. I wouldn't put my money into it as a retail investor with a risk aversion. But I would like to hear our community to comment on that. And SMH is up 0.12%. It's just waiting to see the overall cues. What happens with the rest of the semiconductor stocks is what's going to happen out here. I just want to look at Rigetti and see what's happening with Rigetti. It's down 2.13%. That's about it. And that's all I got out here. Next, let's go on to look at Genomics, and Prime is down 7.27% as of yesterday and still within this flag. And pre-market, we are flat at this point of time. And if CPI comes in hotter, all the genomic stocks are going to feel the pain. Intelia is up 0.09% in pre-market trades. Caribou Biosciences is flat in pre-market trades. And Beam Therapeutics is up 0.15% in pre-market trades. Altimmune is up 3.85%. I don't know what is there for Altimmune. It's just sentimental movement up and down, and it's traveling around this bear channel, which is this is the support of the bear channel out here. Sentiment overall is bearish. MACD is bullish, but momentum is at the bottom. We could potentially have a dead cat bounce off this diagonal line of support. And we have Editas, which is down 0.91%. It's been coming down a bear flag, and it's coming down. This bear flag has got a target, which I would be afraid to tell you, and you would be afraid to watch, because this is the flagpole. And if I take the flagpole and stick it to where we broke down from, I think we are looking at 1.33. So that could be a potential out there. Illumina is down 0.66% in pre-market trades, but we have a support out here today at 92.20. And then we have CRISPR Therapeutics, which is down 0.36%. It's trying to get into this regression channel, in which case we have the first support at 53.26 if it breaks down below the regression channel. And the next support will be at 48.72. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but we have a kind of reverse head and shoulder pattern that seems to be forming out here. I'm going to watch that carefully, and also CPI coming in hot and the prospect of rate cut being pushed back is likely to hurt all the genomic stocks, and CRISPR is one of them as well. And Allogene continues its journey downwards, flat in pre-market trades. Trail is up 0.34%, but we have a bear flag in action, and we have a support at 31.95. We have to see if this bear flag breaks down on the downside. If it did, then it will have a significant drop to go. PACB is flat in pre-market trades. ARCG is up 0.26%. This is again a bearish pennant in the formation, which can break down on the downside. The probability of a downside is more than the probability of an upside. Vertex is up 0.14%. We have a bull flag in the formation, and if we break out on the upside, which is the probability for most bull flags, the upside breakout will give a really nice jump for Vertex and fill out this gap down that had happened earlier. So that's what is in store for Vertex, in my opinion. However, sentiment is very bearish. MACD is bearish, but tending towards the signal line. And we were at the very bottom in terms of our momentum, and we had bounced off, and we are likely to enter back into the 30% area. So Vertex is sort of starting to gain a little bit of traction with all the consolidation happening within this bull flag. Next, we look at Ginkgo Bioworks, which is up 0.08%. Again, it's on a bull flag, which has to break out on the upside from a probability perspective. But there are times when the bull flag could break or break down on the downside. I have a little speculative investment on Ginkgo Bioworks. I was hoping that it would break out on the upside, but unfortunately the bull flag that I had created had a wrong resistance level, which was much lower. So I'm stuck out there. I'll have to decide whether I'm taking a loss and getting out of it. So I'm going to watch what happens today. I'm seeing a little bit of optimism out here, but again, I'm looking at CPI and I'm getting worried. So we'll see what happens out there. Next, I'm looking at Precision, which is down 1.15%. I'm waiting for the FDA readout, and we have this diagonal line of support. So, okay, I'm staying the course with this out here. That said, Lilly is another stock I'm looking at. We are below this regression channel, and I'm thinking that once we get into this regression channel, let me pull this out a little bit. So our regression channel shows that today we'll get a resistance at 651.53. So once we break into it, I think Eli Lilly would be a good stock to buy because it has come down a lot, and there is a potential for it to move back upwards as events unfold and as the days unfold. So I'm thinking that yeah, I would like to watch Eli Lilly. There is also a Deutsche Bank report which says that they have lowered the price target for Eli Lilly shares to $900, down from a previous target of $1,010. So that's a little bit of downgrade, but still the current price is way below the target price that they have. So I'm thinking I believe the technicals and see what happens out here. It could be due for a dead cat bones because the momentum is absolutely at rock bottom and it's seeing a little bit of turn upward. Yeah, so those are my ideas, friends, and I think that brings me to an end of what we have here. And I'm going to look at the comment section and see if there is anything that I have to respond to. If not, I would say that I'm done with today's pre-market analysis. We'll go have a quick breakfast and then we'll come back, look at the 8:30 a.m. Analysis and yeah, see what happens. Take care. Bye, guys. See you later.